uHulumeni uthi azobe ekubeke eqhulwini kuleminyaka emithathu ezayo ngokuthi kufukulwe umnotho wezwe kuphinde kubuyiselwe izinhlelo zemali kaHulumeni endaweni efanele. Lokhu ke kodwa kuzoba nzima kwazise usemningi umsebenzi okumele wenziwe. Kulindeleke ukuthi umnotho wezwe wehle ngo-7.8 wamaphesenti okubi kakhulu kunobekucatshangwa. Izimpahla ezikhiqizwa ezweni kulindeleke ukuthi ziwusimamise umnotho ubuyele esimeni owawukuso ngaphambi kokuhlasela kwe-COVID-19. uHulumeni uthi ukugqoza kwezimpahla ezikhiqizwayo kudale ukuthi yehle kakhulu inzuzo. Siyakhula isikweletu sikaHulumeni kanye nenzalo yaso. Amasenti angama-20 kunanoma yiliphi irandi akhokhela inzalo.
The fiscal measures realign the composition of our spending from consumption towards investment and support efforts to lower the cost of capital.
Ihhovisi likaMgcini Mafa lithi ukuze kwesekwe ukufukulwa komnotho wezwe kubalekile ukuthi izivumelwano zokukhokhwa kwezikweletu zingakubambezeli ukusimama komnotho. Ukukhathazeka ngokuba ntekenteke komnotho wezwe kanye nokusebenzisa imali eningi kunale esuku iqoqiwe sekuholele ekutheni izwe lehliselwe esigabeni sikavobe.
The impression is that this commitment of the government is sufficient to appease for the moment credit risk rating agencies. However, it implies that the government will have to stick to these commitments over the period of the medium-term budget policy statement.
Ukubuya okwehlandla lesibili kwesifo iCovid-19 kungaholela ekutheni kubekwe imigomo emisha emnothweni wezwe nokuyinto engaba yisithiyo ekukhuleni kwawo. Mboweni uthi uHulumeni usuziqalile izinhlelo zokufukula umnotho wezwe. Kuzo kukhona ukwakhiwa kwengqalasizinda, ukukhulisa isizinda sogesi, ukwesekwa kwezimboni kanye nokuqashwa kwabantu.
Amaqembu ezombusazwe anembono eyahlukene ngesabelo mali esethulwe nguNgqongqoshe uTito Mboweni eParliament namhlanje.
What is important is that this mid-term budget comes after the President had presented the economic reconstruction and recovery plan. All what we need to focus on now is what the social partners have agreed upon, that is labor, business, civil society and the government.
We are spending so much more on interest that we are going to be cutting into things like police, healthcare, higher education. All of those things are being cut in today's budgets. And I heard in your introduction about support for the vulnerable, but actually crime is a crisis in this country. The police budget's being cut by $2.5 billion today.
As the IFP, we didn't hope that the minister will pour so much money into SAA, regardless of the fact that they want to resettle the company. But we have been expecting him to speak on the lines of bringing a private partner because government has failed to take care of that state-owned entity.
The government's priorities are upside down if you look at it. You have a government that calls on civil servants, it calls on public representatives to make sacrifices to take a pay cut over the next few years, which is fine. We're prepared to enter into that discussion. But the very same government decides to actually give more than 10 billion rands to SAA as a bailout package, which means that it's almost like a provider of a family, of a father who decides to buy a Christmas tree when the family doesn't have bread and butter on the table.
We are deeply concerned about the lack of stewardship when it comes to dealing with government resources. The spiraling government debt levels up to 5.5 trillion is totally unacceptable.
The government on local level is the big problem. They don't have enough money for water, for sanitation. So the minister is taking money for water and sanitation, giving to the SAA. And you can ask yourself, who are the people really flying SAA?